Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with me today. Today, I have an amazing guest, Paula Washington. Paula is a business and leadership strategist, author, and speaker with over 30 years of experience spanning corporate leadership, entrepreneurship, and personal transformation. With advanced degrees in international business and organizational leadership and executive certifications from institutions including Yale School of Management and Georgia State University, Paula brings both strategic rigor and lived wisdom to her work. Through her signature programs, the Encore Playbook and the Encore Framework, she supports women 45 and plus who are ready to step into their next chapter with clarity, courage, and structure, aligning both bold vision and practical execution. Her philosophy is simple but very powerful. Transformation must be strategic, measurable, and sustainable, but most of all, personal. Hi, Paula. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Hi, Sarah. It's such a pleasure to see you today and be with you. This
Thank
is
you.
such a great experience. I'm looking
Thank
forward.
you. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is impressive. Okay, I'm a little intimidated here, but I want to know, who are you? Who is Paula Washington?
Right now, I am a incredible person that I have accepted that has done all these things, but I am the most happiest and in tune individual in my own life. And I say that because I wrote the book, The Encore Playbook, and I began to study, my history and how did I get here? I mean, I didn't just get here because I could do this and that and the other. And then I looked at my family background and I saw, my grandmother graduating college in 1894, and that doesn't happen. When women weren't even supposed to go, and we weren't supposed to be there. And then my grandmother graduating Juilliard as a pianist and a real estate broker to help people move into neighborhoods they were not allowed to live in. And then my mom being the only female manager in a bank branch where the only other women were tellers and secretaries. So, how did I become who I am and all the things that I've accomplished? That came through them. Every time I wanted to give up and didn't understand what life was about and it was going this way and that way, that energy and that love and that history kind of was pushing me forward and cheering me on. And I didn't know that. So I am the most self aware, excited individual right now, full of love, full of power, and a force of nature.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, what a legacy. Can you imagine?
Yes. And I didn't really appreciate it, understand it until now. I'm in my late 60s now, and I can look back and embrace everything that I've learned. I know why things didn't happen. I know I'm so grateful some things didn't happen. And I'm grateful for whatever did happen, but I understand. And so that was my whole premise in putting this book together, was to help other people understand and be able to connect those dots.
That's amazing. That's beautiful. Thank you. So, you've navigated corporate leadership, entrepreneurship, and personal evolution over 30 years. Was there a specific moment when you realized you were entering your own encore season?
Yeah, there was. Well, there were several moments over the decades, but the first moment in corporate, getting downsized several times, uh, and couldn't get a job because, of course, you're overqualified. I went to go get a loan and from the SBA, and they didn't have a program for women in entrepreneurship, and I had one, and so I got that contract and became their spokesperson, and that really was the opportunity that changed my trajectory in going forward. Then we fast forward now here in 2020 when I'm caregiving for my mom, and all my cousins and I lost our last parent. And I'm looking at my mortality and saying, okay, what is it that I'm going to do with the time that I have left? They all were in their 90s. So they lived a full life. They gave us everything they could. And so now what am I going to do for the next 30, 40 years? Okay. So I said, let's see. I'm already in my encore season because I was already in my 60s. I said, let me package all the things that I've done and give away 50% of my IP to help people move forward. And so that moment at looking at my mortality really shaped where I am and how I see the world and how I live now.
That's great. Such a it's very insightful. I love that. A lot, a lot of women in midlife feel the desire for change, but don't know really where to start. So, in your experience, what separates a wish for reinvention from a structured, sustainable next chapter?
Well, a lot of people think they have to reinvent, and you actually don't. You just start where you are. Okay, so if you're in your 40s decade, that's a decade of liberation because now you don't have to answer to anybody. You're an adult and you're figuring things out. If you're in your 50s decade, you can celebrate. You've been on the earth for 50 years and you know something. Okay, if you're in your 60s decade and beyond, the same thing. So, what we're looking at here is taking the best of who we are today and if we had a dream we never moved out on, considering establishing that dream, writing it out, putting it together, and seeing how we could actually incorporate that into our life. Because when you're thinking about your next and your best era or decade or making those changes, okay, we start with a small change first. So we're looking at exit with intention. Okay, where I am, I don't particularly care for it, but I can't leave today. So let's make a plan to leave tomorrow, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, whether it's a personal relationship, whether it's a business, whether it's a job, whatever it is. And then you create a plan around that, and then incremental steps, monthly, weekly, semi-annually, or whatever, to move into that next place.
You
And then
just you
go ahead.
just took away so much anxiety from the reinvention part.
Yes, because if you say reinvent, that means I have to start over again, and we don't have to start over again. We're never starting over. We're taking with what we have, and we're using that, and we're evolving into the best person we are meant to be. Think about it. And when I was 20, what satisfied me at 20 is not going to satisfy me at 40. So there is a level of maturity that comes. And so what satisfied me at 40 is not satisfying me at 60. So, why would I reinvent
That's
it? Exactly.
exactly.
But we can evolve from the best and the worst because life gives us great wins and losses. And if we take the losses and learn from the loss, wow, we're very powerful because we realize, okay, this is came to teach me a lesson. I got the lesson. Now, how can I put it in with the rest of who I am and make it work?
Absolutely, yes. So you work with high performing professionals, and I'm curious, what tends to be harder for accomplished women? Building something new or releasing the identity that made them successful before?
The identity that made them successful before and control. Because people who are leaders, and it doesn't matter what level you're at, or have a sense of control, have a sense of management, and they want to be in charge. And they think they know where they're going, but they forgot that the identity of who they are now is not who they were yesterday. So it's not going to work. And so that's why I have the framework to help them get through that process and they can sit back and say, okay, and there's a level of humility and surrender that has to happen. That I don't know it all and I don't care that I don't know it all. And I'm just going to yield to this process and go through it.
That's good. And I can relate.
Me too. Yeah, I can too. You hit your head against the wall a couple of times doing the same thing over and over again. You kind of figure out, well, wait a minute, I might need to change.
Yep. Okay, so you describe your approach as future focused and practical. How do you help women balance that bold ambition with sustainability? Because many women we serve are capable, but they're also exhausted.
Of course they're tired because they've been pushing a rock up a hill when they weren't supposed to. The Encore framework, I'm going to give it to you. E is for exit with intention. N is for navigate the new after the crazy and the chaos. So we've been in the fire, we've been in the frying pan, all of that. And we created it too. So we own the stuff that didn't work. We laugh at that and say, okay, if I did that and I didn't know what I was doing, what could I do now? All right, so navigating the new. Then from there, we're looking at commit. We have to commit to the new idea, the new opportunity, or what we're looking to accomplish. We have to be able to communicate that clearly to others. And so that we can have draw the authentic connections and relationships that we need to move forward in our life. And so, whether it's the life, it's the business, or all of the above, it's all encompassed. And then from there, we're looking at opportunity. Oh, a lot of times people don't recognize opportunities. They're all around you every day. You got to create opportunities, and you got to seize it when it shows up. That means you got to move. Okay, you can't sit there and start overthinking. Well, I'll do this. I'll do no. Get going. And so then we're looking at relevance. You know, real goals that yield real results. Stop with all of the fantasy and all of these. Everybody's got a formula. Put that all aside. Encore, you are creating what that is for you, and be relevant. They have to be realistic. They have to resonate with the people you want to work with or the things you want to do. And you have to believe it. Hello. You got to believe what you want. So relevance is so important. And then E is excellence, your personal trademark. What are you the go to person for that no one else does better than you? You believe in that thing, you reshape it, or however you want to use it, and we package that and make a complete new plan. And now you have your Encore framework for yourself. And that is the thing that you use to navigate your future today. Every day we're going to do one thing going towards the next day, going towards the next day. We're not going to play, we're not going to be in 2028 and we're in 2026 where this is where I would like to be then. But right now, this is what I need to do to move forward realistically. Incremental steps make big, big impacts over time. And so that takes the pressure off and the stress, the financial burden, everything that goes along with what if, what if, what if, what if. No, it's no more what if. The best thing that can happen is, and when this happens, this. And so we are now speaking in the place of faith 100%. Because when you bet on yourself, you win. When you bet on other people, you'll lose because they don't know your path and your process. And so when you try other people's stuff, it doesn't work for you because it's not made for you. And so in that whole Encore framework, I lived it. And so in me living it and going through it over and over and over again, I learned that, being kind, patient, trusting myself, um, and also being alone. A lot of times people don't like to be alone. They love to be around a lot of other people. But you can't hear yourself think if you got 50 people around you, if you're always on your phone, if you got the TV, the music, and all of this all going on, and you don't go out and take like a nice walk and peace and quiet and get real with yourself.
I love that. And I hear you. When someone comes to me and says I'm overwhelmed, my immediate thought goes, okay, you're following everybody, you're trying everything at once, you're not giving yourself the time and the space to just be yourself and figure out who you are and where you are right now, because a lot of us want to skip that part. We just want the
Mhm.
the magic formula and get there quick. So I totally understand that and I love it. So in the Encore program, you include strategy and community, right? So from your perspective, why is community so critical in that, in creating that? I won't go with reinvention, but with starting where you are. And what happens when women try to do their next chapter alone?
Well, there is going to be a point where you do some by yourself. But in community, you can see and hear there'll be mirrors of reflection of different people who are doing the same thing or went through the same experiences, and you realize, wait a minute, I might have had a negative opinion about it, but actually it wasn't true. You're going to find the energy of collaboration where all of you are at a certain stage of space in life, ages and stages, and you're all going through the same thing. And so when I say, oh, well, I'm struggling with this, how do I put this together, whatever, well, you may want to think about that. And then now all of a sudden your peers are sharing ideas with you, or they're sharing their heartfelt stories about what they went through to overcome something. In the last couple of weeks, I've been a caregiver in my life at least 4 or 5 times, along with a parent and everything else, and cared for people. And in the last couple of weeks, many of my colleagues have had parents that have left. But because I've done it and walked through it, I was able to share with them how to manage, what to expect, how to nurture themselves in the process, and what was getting ready to happen, and being that type of voice to them at a time where they needed it, and they're running a business, they got a family, they got all this other stuff going on, is so important to have community, and that's what it's about.
Absolutely. I For me, it's got to be one of the best ways to even to grow. And you know, because of that, and what a privilege to belong to a community and to have someone like you to help them in that time that is very hard in our
Hmm.
lives, right? And
Yes.
it's something that to do alone, or to go that road alone, it it just it's just so much harder, and you really don't have to do it alone.
That's true. And when you talked about high performers in the past, they think they have to do it alone, you know, because we thought that, we have to do everything, but we don't. We're not a do-all, we're not a machine. We're human beings. We're beautiful beings. We're brilliant, intelligent. We're loving and caring, and we have a lot of responsibility as nurturers and parents and all the different roles that women have. But the number one role is to love yourself.
Absolutely. So for the woman listening who feels that tag, that sense that there is still more for her, what would you want her to know about writing her next chapter now instead of waiting?
I want her to know, seize the moment. You're listening to this podcast for a reason. I've given you a framework, a formula. You have a magazine and a community, and we offer a wealth of wisdom. So get busy. Sit down with a piece of paper. Hello, not the computer. And let your heart tell you what it wants to do. One of my prayers was one year, I was like, God, what does my heart really want? Not what everything else says,
Mm,
but what does my heart really want? And I started journaling that out. And I had so much peace because now it was about me, it was personal. So that's what I would say to her.
that's beautiful. And what's the biggest myth about reinvention after 45 that you'd like to break, dismantle, do away with?
You do not have to start over. You are enough in who you are today. You're not late, you're on time because whenever you show up for you, the party just began. Can we enjoy that? When I show up for me in this moment, my party has just begun. So why am I late? I'm not late. When did experience have expiration date? It doesn't have an expiration date. That's what gives us wisdom. That's
So
what gives
true.
us wisdom. All of this, oh, retire, this, da, 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 all these things that people put labels on. Experience doesn't have an expiration date. You're always on time when you show up for yourself in the moment. And when the opportunity presents itself, go for it. Pay attention. Get busy.
That. I absolutely love that. Yes. I talk a lot about clarity. And clarity comes when you also start moving, when you're just there thinking in your head. "Hmm, it's not
But
going."
there's nothing in the cycles of the universe that can move anything. Because you're just sitting there thinking, no one knows what's going on between your ears. And you're not saying it, you're not doing it, but you
You're not
build momentum.
writing it with
You're
your
not writing
pen.
it down, because the pen is the eye to the heart. So if you don't write it down, guess what? It's not real. And so you could be the greatest thinker in the world. Nobody would have a clue. There's, like they say, the graveyard is full of unwritten books and inventions and all these kind of things. So
Absolutely.
stop talking about it. No excuses. Execute. Stop rehearsing it in your head and start leading your own life. You are responsible for yourself.
That's beautiful. I love that. Okay. I have a couple of rapid fire closers. Are you game?
Okay. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay. A word that defines this season of your life.
Freedom.
A book or quote that's shaped you.
I have actually two quotes. One, to thine own self be true. And then the other one is, when people show you who they are, believe them.
That one. Okay. Something simple that makes you feel grounded.
Prayer.
What does self care look like for you right now?
Well, self care is so nurturing for me right now. It's quiet, it's fun, it's dance, it's life, it's music. It's all of the things that make me happy and nurture me that I do for myself. Not what other people do for me, but what I do for me. When I give myself a gift, when I buy myself a card, when I do whatever I want to do that makes me happy. That's what self care. Yes, I do the walking, I do my exercises, I drink my water and all that other stuff. I buy my oils and nurture my skin and all of those things that you do naturally that makes your body feel good. But then it's about you. What do you love to have fun doing? And I'm a spontaneous person. I love to do things just like boom. So having fun is so nurturing, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Paula, thank you so much for being with us today. I absolutely loved our conversation.
I did too. It's such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And just before we go, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, they can go to my website, paulawashington.com, and they can schedule a coffee chat, and it's free. And they can go on, click, and schedule a coffee chat. They can reach me on my LinkedIn at Paula Washington. I think it's MBAMS on LinkedIn. Then I am on Instagram at I am Paula Washington. And my email is hello@paulawashington.com.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're more than welcome.